I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil. I never shook baby.
It's July, which means it's like the second or third spookiest month of the year, I think.
Well, dude, not just it's like it's our 2-year anniversary.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
We did. We had our first. We're a little past it, but
Yeah,
we recorded our first episode end of June, early July.
yeah, I think
I
so.
went
Yeah,
back to look on YouTube. It was just like 2 years ago. It's like YouTube. That's not helping me.
yeah. Oh, well, happy anniversary, baby.
Happy anniversary, Joe.
Cool. 84 episodes. Fucking A.
84. Yeah, we're getting there.
It's a spooky. It's one of the spookiest numbers too. It's one of those,
84.
yeah, it's pretty scary.
I suppose.
No. Yeah.
I didn't have anything. I had nothing. I had nothing for that. Usually I had something. I had nothing.
Oh man, no, I was so I do marketing for this little performing arts organization, and so we were just kind of brainstorming just random ways to like promote ourselves. And so did you ever watch Portlandia? With Fred Armisen and
I think we've talked about this. I like started it. I've maybe seen a few. It's one of those shows where because it's sketch,
yeah,
it's like you kind of see things here and there.
yeah,
As episodes, I've probably seen a handful tops.
Right. Well, there's this hilarious sketch. It has that comedian Jim Gaffigan.
Yep.
So he and some other guy, they're selling stew, like
yeah.
this is like they're selling stew out of like a food truck in Portland. And they're struggling to sell stew, obviously. And so Jim Gaffigan's like, all right, I'm gonna try something different. So he goes out in front of the food truck, and then he's like, oh, my leg, it really, really hurts. And then some woman comes up to him. She goes, oh my God, are you okay? He goes, yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna go to the hospital. Hey, look, they sell stew here. I'll go to the hospital. You stay here and get some stew. So me and the other team, my coworkers, we used some talking ways, like stupid ways of like stupid segues to get people to buy tickets. Like,
so you should have just like two of you jump the other, like outside of the theater or the studio or whatever it is. Is there like a central place? Do you have a location?
Yeah,
like outside the theater, just be like, use that one. Like, oh, okay, I'll go to the hospital. You go catch a show.
So we have like this membership program. So like if you're an artist or you donated money, then you can join like this Discord. We can talk to other artists and network and get info on upcoming things. So I was like, maybe I should like set up a separate account and go and be like, oh man, you guys, today it's really hot in LA. But you know what always cheers me up is a nice cool glass of ticket sales. But like it's just it's just stupid segues. I'll be your hype man.
What do you guys do? Like what kind of art is it?
It's experimental performance, immersive theater stuff.
Like
so
a lot of frontal nudity, that sort of thing.
Mostly backal nudity.
Back nudity.
Yeah.
It's like
it's just butts. It's just butt shows. Nothing but butt shows.
Just flat butts. Artists emaciated butts.
No, I mean sometimes the stuff we do is a little provocative. Like we do have a horror themed burlesque show coming up. No.
If I was there, I just every time like MC would come out and like,
so we got that coming up. But yeah, we do kind of a wide range of immersive performance stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sounds very Los Angeles.
Yeah, it is. And that's why but let's talk horror stuff though.
Well, hold on. No, you know what we should do? Because you just brought it up.
Oh yeah.
Talk about promoting ourselves.
Oh yeah.
We never promote ourselves. And then you literally brought up promoting something else. And I made a mental note when you said that. And we're going to go right into what we're talking about. So let's promote ourselves. We do it once every 17 episodes.
Yeah.
And we have a Patreon. We have merch on there. You can support us for as little as $3 a month. And you get goodies with everything at a minimum. You get ebook and a sticker. At Max, you get like sweatshirts and t-shirts and paperback books and all that stuff. And there are, I think, 4 different tiers. My website is bendelesio.com. It's in the notes. You have all my books there.
Yeah.
And Reckless Muse, links to short stories and my movie review list, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and also if you are a writer, if you like, write short stories, or you do commentary on, pop culture and art and stuff like that, come be a writer at the Reckless Muse blog on Medium.
Did someone just post a cat story?
Yes, they did. Yeah, Jerry Landry. Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, I saw that. I liked it. I have to go read it though.
Yeah,
I prematurely liked it, assuming it's pro cat. It was anti cat. I'm gonna go take my like away.
I know he does like dogs, but he might be.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he maybe. Well, here's the thing. He
I'm
moved.
joking.
So I actually met him here in LA, and he's a screenwriter, but he moved to Texas. So I don't know. Maybe the move changed him. Maybe when he was in LA, when he was on West Coast guy, he was a dog man.
I like dogs. How's Chomper doing?
He's good. I took him. So for 4th of July, I took him to a barbecue at my friend's place, and I asked him, "Hey, is it okay if I bring my dog?" And like, yeah, it's totally cool. We got 2 other dogs here, and they're really friendly. So, and they do not like they're super friendly towards everybody. They do not like Chomper at all. And it's like Chomper. I mean, they weren't like getting violent or anything, but Chomper, he's super friendly, and he just kept like, hey, I'm gonna jump on you, and you can chase me. Come on, let's play. So he started crying a little bit because they wouldn't play with him. So
the other dogs wouldn't play with him.
Yeah, but. It's okay. Chomper. He loves humans, so he got lots of attention from chicks. So that's what really matters. Yeah.
He's a chick magnet. Chomp that face.
Yeah. All right.
All right then. Okay, that was our promotion. Horror in July.
Yeah,
it's the title of this episode.
Yeah.
So you don't have to text me later. It'll be like, do you have a title for the episode?
When I'm like 30 seconds away from like uploading, it's upload. It's gonna be permanent. I can't change it.
And I just like think of something off the top of my head that's like way too long and confusing. And you're like, all right, I'll work with that.
Yeah.
It's a good one though.
You've watched you've kept abreast of some recent horror.
Well, we both love horror stuff.
Yeah.
And we definitely do multiple episodes in October. I binge watch horror movies in October and just need so much that I need like a palate cleanser by the end of it. Yeah. But I do just like horror all year round. I've really taken to horror punk music as just like I thought it would be a phase. It's not. It's a lifestyle. I'm wearing my Misfits shirt right now.
Oh yeah.
And I have watched, and like not even necessarily on purpose, just some like new movies that have come out have been horror, and like 2 overtly so, which are Evil Dead Rise. I love that series. I have a Bruce Campbell patch
tattoo?
On this jacket on the back.
Oh.
I wish a tattoo like on the back with my favorite one line from any movie ever.
Groovy. Yeah.
It's the best. I that's in the good things list. Also, you can find on the Reckless Muse site, and I think it's the best single line ever in a movie. In cinematic history, I should say. And Scream 6, which we can talk about. Yeah. And Infinity Pool, which is like horror-ish. It's Cronenberg, his son. It's a Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And we like him overall. I didn't love Crimes of the Future, but what I will always give the Cronenbergs. Actually, I've only seen. I have Possessor on my watch list. Yeah, but what I'll give the Cronenbergs is they swing for the fences. Yeah, and I appreciate that. They're definitely visionaries. Whether I always like that vision is one thing, and if it materializes or delivers, but I definitely appreciate that they're always swinging for the fences.
Yeah, Possessor is interesting. It's all right, but it's one of those movies, like you said, where it's like it's him just going all out. It's like a hard R Inception.
It's a hard what?
Hard R Inception, like an R-rated.
It's funny
Inception.
that you say hard R because I just went on Twitter and hard R was trending.
It was,
and it's like someone's like, and like a bunch of black people staring into the camera. It's like black people and they see hard R trending. But yeah, hard R. Isn't that just like X? Like, didn't that used to be what hard R was?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that movies would often get an X rating despite not being pornographic. It was just sort of like we just can't give it an R rating. So it's like, all right, well, I guess we're X-rated then. So
Yeah, but X, like, there's then limitations for an X rating, right? Like they can't, like, they don't want an X rating. Like movies try
correct.
not to get an X rating.
So what they did in the 80s, they would just release it as unrated,
Hold on, sorry,
which is
my head's all
basically
fucked up. Give me a second. You
yeah,
can keep talking, but
yeah, it was
it's
basically
from my head. Now my head's like all fucking tilted.
oh, is that why aren't you wearing new TRM merch? If you
all right, we'll cut this. We'll cut that. Oh my god. All right.
Yeah, in the 80s, the workaround that they had was like, we'll just release it unrated, and that was basically like the equivalent of NC-17.
Oh yeah, NC-17. Wait, NC-17 is below R?
It's above R. So
I thought R was 18.
No, NC-17 is no children at the age of 17 without parents' permission or guardian or whatever.
Okay.
Unless accompanied by a guardian. NC-17 means no children under 17 at all, period.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's why there's I feel like there's very few NC-17.
Yeah, because most people still affiliate it with an X rating, where it's like you're 1 year away from an X rating anyway. Because
what's X?
I guess it's just porn.
No, but I mean, like, what's the rule?
Nobody under the age of 18, I guess.
Like even if you have a parent.
I guess so. Yeah.
Gotcha. Full penetration.
No. Full insertion. Yep.
Okay. Well, those are the three I think that I've watched recently. I can go and check the list. What about you?
I haven't watched a whole lot of new horror. I did watch Beau is Afraid, which I enjoyed quite a bit, but I think that one's going to polarize people quite a bit more than because it seemed like Ari Aster's previous films, Midsommar and Hereditary, were much more universally praised. But this one was definitely more polarized. I love it. I mean, he basically is one of those filmmakers where it's like whatever he puts out, I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah, he is. He's earned that.
Yeah. It's definitely a departure from it's less straight up horror, but there are definitely plenty of horror, nightmarish elements to it. And then I've been getting into on and off for like the last year. I've been getting into analog horror, which is not a film specifically, but it is. I talked a little bit about this, and honestly, I think we can do a whole episode on this. Like maybe we can just save it for October, but
sure.
But it's more of a YouTube oriented thing. So analog horror is like it's kind of like an offshoot of found footage horror. So it definitely has a similar aesthetic where you as an audience are kind of stumbling upon this footage. But it really plays up the analog aspect well. So it's often presented in like say like a PSA from like the late 80s or early 90s. Like you often see like scan lines. You'll see like it'll look like a VHS that's been recorded over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And
what are some examples of that like you think people would know?
Let's see. I have a list here. Which is my favorite one? Oh, so a recent one. It's called The Backrooms. Okay. I have a description here. The concept of the backrooms. So by the way, these are all pretty much on YouTube. So you can search for these and then they'll pop up. The concept of the backrooms first originated as a sort of creepypasta after a photo of a pale yellow hallway was posted as a picture that felt off, and it looks just like a basic sort of office, area
Sure.
that's just empty of like furniture. The basics of the lore are that the backrooms are a seemingly endless labyrinth that people can phase or no clip into specific areas in our world. And so it's kind of you're just it's like a first person camera just going through these endless hallways, but then you'll just see like a brief flash of like a bizarre creature off in the distance or right around a corner. And there is kind of like a bigger lore behind it. But what's interesting about the Backrooms is that, from what I understand, it is going to be made into a feature-length film. And the director, I think, is like 17 years old, and they got signed by A24 to do a horror.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there's that one. My favorite one so far is Gemini Home Entertainment. And so these are the ones that they look like PSAs, like just like local PSAs. And they start off as sort of like there's when you're out in wild and in the forest, like you don't feed the animals and don't do this, and make sure to stay on the path. And if you can't, but then it gradually gets more bizarre and so like be careful of hyenas, be careful of this, and then like show like some kind of weird tentacled Lovecraftian monster. It's like and beware the Night Stalkers, and then so it gradually gets weirder and more bizarre. And
so are these like low budget?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why they've taken off so much, because like 90% of it is just done, with editing software. It's just like, somebody made a creepy picture in Photoshop, and then they put music and text together into this weird little PSA. So pretty much all of these are very low budget.
That's pretty sweet. I have to watch some of these. I always liked horror shorts.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any of the titles off the top of my head, but I remember there were a bunch a few years ago that were pretty good. That had like, I guess to describe them isn't great, but just a lot of them just have like that one moment, like it's a few minutes long, and it just builds up to like this one moment, like a reveal or something.
Yeah.
One of them was like something in bed, and she's like snuggling with some monster, and of course it's like the person she thinks she's snuggling with walks in the room. So who the fuck, something like that.
She thinks it's her husband.
Yes,
from work,
something like that. I got an idea for one of my books. Like one of the creatures in my books was described in, I believe it was a creepypasta with this. It was like this story that sounded very real, and it was very it was very poignant, and it stuck with me. And I was like, I could work with that. Like this. Not that I stole it, but like it gave me the idea for this creature that then I put in my books that would be replicated, that I called the Vreek. And it's like this part dog, part humanoid type thing that was like waiting at the end of this person's bed. Again, we're talking like a while back now, so I can't remember exactly. But anyway, for horror, so yeah, Ari Aster for Beau is Afraid. I've not seen that. I have seen the mixed reviews. It seemed like he couldn't miss for a while.
Yeah.
And he is definitely one of my favorite directors. And Joaquin Phoenix is probably my favorite actor.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to pick one, he's probably my favorite actor. But I heard it's not Hereditary or Midsummer.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the same impact overall. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought Joaquin Phoenix, I thought he was actually pretty terrific. Cool. I know that a lot of people, some critics were did not care much for his performance. They thought it was kind of one note. I thought it was pretty terrific because it didn't feel like a Joaquin Phoenix movie. It didn't feel like a star vehicle. It just he went into like he really immersed himself in that sort of he just plays like this pushover. High-strung, middle-aged man, and I was like, yeah, I totally bought it the whole time. There was never a moment like, oh, he's looking handsome. There, he's the leading man. I was like, oh, he's just this pathetic loser guy. So this entire time, and I thought it was great.
All right. Well, so some movies I want to talk about are new. Should I refrain from spoilers? Do you think? Like,
nah. I mean, because I think all of these at least have been out, like on available to stream and.
Yeah, they all. I've streamed all of them. Okay, so
yeah.
But you haven't seen. So let's. I'll mention. Scream 6. So, I have I'm not going to read my reviews here. I haven't posted these yet. I still have one more to do before. I usually like to add 5 at a time. And I've done 4. So like basically after the last Scream, which is just Scream 2022 because it's called Scream, but there had no other title to it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of vowed to stop with the Scream movies because that one, like, it was fine. I give it like a 60 or 61, I think, like just passable. Yeah. But it was far too self-referential, and meta, and I was kind of over it. Like in the first Scream, when they're talking about the rules of horror movies and all of those kind of tropes, it felt like fresh and fun. But now it's just getting a little ridiculous. However, I'm a sucker for these things, and I would have never seen Scream 6 in theaters, but I'm like, hey, it's free. Stream it. Why not? I did, and the one thing that probably pushed me over the edge to watch it was that they changed the setting, which I thought was cool. It's in New York City.
Okay.
And I'm going to bring this up later for Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
But I thought that I'm like, okay, fine. That's like pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
they're getting out of the suburban. I forget where the original Screams take place. Like where in the country? Are they like the Midwest? Is it like Michigan?
Think so. Something like I think it's like Woodsboro, something. But yeah, I think it's supposed to take place. But it's funny because then like the first two basically took place in relatively small suburban towns, and then the third one took place mostly in L.A. because it revolved around like they're turning the movie they're turning the events of the movie into a movie in Hollywood. So they're kind of playing with that whole thing.
Right.
I don't remember where Scream 4 was taking place. Probably still in the same original town or something. But
okay,
yeah, I've only seen the first 4 Screams.
You mean the Scream from last year?
No, because I remember Scream 4 came out like 10 years or so after Scream 3.
Okay. All right. Well, Scream, the one last year was like back in the suburban town, like the hometown.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can't remember if it's supposed to be anywhere. It's supposed to be just kind of like generic suburb.
Yeah.
But this one was in New York City. I thought it was very cool. It's I don't know. How do I say this? It has all the self-referential part. It's definitely better.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's definitely better than Scream 6. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve a lot of the problems. It plays off the same like toxic fandom.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Slice is the movie, like the
Stab.
That's it. Stab. The reveals are fine. It's kind of like again.
Yeah.
It's like, and I just thought it was like I'll just read. Not that I'm just gonna read my own sentence here.
Yeah.
I guess I can smell my own fart, but I'll just say I'm like, however, if you want to experience the thrills of encountering a homicidal maniac in the Big Apple, all you have to do is take the ACE 123 LG probably 456 BDMF JZ7 QNRW or the shuttle between 12 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. any day of the week. So I guess this wasn't all that special. So it's like, yeah, it's New York City, which is cool, but also New York City is just like full of homicidal maniacs. Yeah. So it does kind of lose its I don't know, its panache there.
Yeah.
There's one part of it that a recurring part of it that's very cool, where there's this whole shrine to Stab, like to the ghost face, I should say.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very cool. Overall, I gave it a 65 sneak peek for a print. It's fine. I say again, like I'll see you next year. Like they're just gonna make another one. I am just gonna see it. I'm a sucker for this shit. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Scream franchise.
Yeah, so I thought the first one was really good, but even then, I feel like if that movie came out today, without that really being, because the movie came out, the first Scream came out in 95 or 96, and that was cool. That was fresh because it was like, oh, cool, like, and also because it was made by Wes Craven, so he's kind of poking fun of his own genre. They do kind of poke fun of cliches that he himself kind of populated or kind of perpetuated throughout the 80s. But I think that
Hellraiser. Who did Hellraiser?
This Clive Barker.
Clive Barker. I was just too confused. I think I said that on this podcast, but anyway.
But yeah, the second one was like, okay, like you're stretching the premise a little bit because now it's someone else who wants to get revenge on that same teenager played by Neve Campbell. And then Scream 3 again was like, okay, we got even more people who want to get revenge on Neve Campbell because of family. And then Scream 4 was like, oh, guess what? There are even more people from her past who are trying to get revenge on her. And then I stopped watching after. I was like, how many people are going to keep trying to kill this girl with the same exact shtick? So I mean, I'll definitely check out the newer Scream movies, but it's just sort of like I don't know. It's I'm
gonna read one more thing from my review because I did watch a couple weeks ago. That is one of my critiques. It's like, so Scream suffers from the same issue I have with the Marvelverse Meta Galaxy Infinitum TM. No one is ever dead. It's fun in Rick and Morty. It's annoying here. The character doesn't die on screen. She isn't dead. Yes, I know the rule, but then I don't care when they get gutted like a fish. I actually don't care what happens to any of these characters. And even though I saw the previous movie 8 months earlier, I can't remember anything that happened in it. All that being said, it's still a slasher with an interesting enough script to satisfy a Friday night craving for something mindless and bloody, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that part kind of sums up one of my biggest issues with Scream.
Yeah.
Like I've said, the opposite. Like what I love so much about Game of Thrones is when a character dies, with some exception, even if they come back, they're not the same. And then there's one thing with the religion there, but with the Brotherhood Without Banners, but like I'm not invested in any of these characters.
Yeah.
So when I see someone die, like it doesn't have that impact. And it's like, okay, 20 minutes has gone by. They're not back. I guess they're dead.
Right.
Oh wait, 30 minutes has gone by. Here they are again. It's just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the sort of commentary of Scream 6 or 7 or whichever one run?
Yeah, 6. I think it's played out. Like I do.
Yeah.
I think they need to, like, this was supposed to be a reboot, but it's not, because it still refers back to the what was his name? Who was the killer in the first one? I know
something Cotton something like Frank Cotton.
Yeah, who's the actor though? He was at like
Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. It wasn't him.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. He was the guy who was accused. Everybody thought that he was the murderer for a long time, but he was not.
Oh really? Liev Schreiber?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was actually in the first 3 Scream movies. I don't remember, but
yeah. Well, he has like a very He has a very like recognizable name. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Was he the guy that? But wait, there's more.
No, that was his partner. That was Stu. Who was also what's his name from Scooby Doo?
That's right. Yeah, Shaggy.
Yeah, Scream. This is really bothering me. Someone's gonna be fucking screaming at their Skeet Ulrich. That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Ulrich. Yeah, Skeet Ulrich. Yeah, like it's still like related to him. He has a kind of a cameo in this. I guess this is how he's making his money now. Is cameos in the Scream movies. I'm never gonna complain about Jenna Ortega being in a movie. Sure. You know, she's nice to look at.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It was like fine.
Mm-hmm.
It had a couple moments. It's a slasher, so I get why it's so popular. Like I do. I get why people want to see it. It's not my favorite style of horror. So if we're going back big picture here, horror, it's something, and I guess it doesn't matter. I'm gonna put a lot of them on. They can be very fun, but it's not my favorite. Yeah. I think go ahead.
The self-referential thing is getting annoying. Like so many movies and TV shows are doing that. The sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge thing.
It's too. It's a Marvelification of it. It's too much. And I don't know. Is Scream kind of like the horror Marvel?
Maybe it's kind of turning into that, where it's like at first it was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. This is kind of like
two have come out in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like the universe thing.
Yeah.
It's the whole concept of like no one's ever dead until they're dead and they can come back.
There's even a TV show on MTV for a few seasons too.
There's a Scream show.
There was, yeah. I don't know if it's still on or not, but
it feels like it's. I'm not saying it's an exact equivalent, but it's that sort of movie that's turning in, you know, it's very popular right now. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I really liked or I loved it. Like, but that was one movie. I don't want a franchise of Everything Everywhere All at Once. So yeah, it's fine. It's I think it does exactly what some people want it to do. It's just and it's enough for me to recommend it for that reason.
Sure.
And I guess it was a little better than the last one.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's not like I go to a Scream movie for like, you know, an in-depth, you know, satire or critique of the horror genre. But after like Scream 2 or 3, like it just felt very kind of lazy. It just felt kind of like, oh, this is what's going on in horror right now. Lots of sequels. Let's make fun of sequels.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone, I think it's meta. Let's make fun of meta. It's like,
did you see the last Scream 2022?
No.
I think it was in that one. They're even talking about highbrow horror. And they're ripping on the own type of subgenre that they're in.
Right.
And they literally bring up like Hereditary. in our Astor movie. And like, so in a sense, I don't want everything to be that either. Like, I think it's cool how horror has expanded. And I love the variety. I really do.
Yeah.
I would like to see Scream become more of a pure slasher again instead of like a meta slasher. Is basically what I'm asking for at this point.
Right.
I also saw. Do you want to talk Infinity Pool?
Oh yeah, let's talk that.
So Infinity Pool.
What's the basic premise of that one?
Very, very cool premise. Here's the thing. Infinity Pool was on such a cool direction. I think also like Crimes of the Future was. And I think Infinity Pool is a better movie. Crimes of the Future really fizzled out quickly to me.
Yeah.
And got way too strange. Infinity Pool just got a little confusing, but the concept was fantastic. So to boil it down, it takes place in a fictional, basically like Eastern European country, but also that's like tropical. So I don't know what an equivalent would necessarily be. Like, when there are parts of southern Russia that are on beaches like Sochi, like, but it's nicer than that. It's like a hyper authoritarian but tropical country. I think maybe like the Maldives would be an equivalency, even though that's like a Muslim Indian Ocean country.
Yeah.
But like beautiful, but also no freedoms, right?
Right.
So, but they're white and they speak like they have like Eastern European accents.
Yeah.
And it takes place at a resort where Alexander Skarsgård is a novelist. He's published kind of like one book. I think he comes from money, or his wife comes from money. So he's like a struggling artist, but also vacationing at a very exclusive resort. So you don't feel like that bad for him.
Yeah.
He's also Alexander Skarsgård, who's 6'5" and extremely good looking, and has a beautiful, mixed race wife. So they meet like Mia Goth's character, who like people don't realize, like Mia, I think she uses her real voice there, which is like super high pitched and Britishy and like not what people are used to in X and Pearl. And anyway, so they get in trouble. They go out partying off of the resort, which they're not supposed to do. They accidentally kill a local, like drunk driving. And over there, it's kind of like no nonsense, like eye for an eye. So you get the death penalty, no due process, anything like that.
Nice.
And
that's
basically that's how we should do it. And just kidding. But however, there's a wrinkle, and this is where the wrinkle is. If it was just that, it would just be like a Midnight Express, a kind of horror story, fish out of water, locked up abroad type story. But here, if you're rich, you can actually pay to have a clone made of you, which then your clone is executed. But you have to watch your clone get executed.
Right.
Very cool concept. And really, the way they do it looks really cool too.
Right.
Kind of like bathed in this like deprivation tank of gelatinous, bloody liquid. And the executions are not like, I think executions are morbid wherever, but it's not, it's not lethal injection. It's literally the family member of the victim gets to kill you. And there's a myriad of ways they do it. The first one is he gets tied to a post, his shirt ripped open, and a little kid walks up and just stabs him a bunch. And then some of them again, so basically the plot is that though this group of wealthy hedonists kind of make a sport out of this. And because they're rich, they just meet up annually, commit a bunch of crimes with impunity, and actually make a spectacle of watching their own clones get executed.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome, right?
Yeah.
Really, really cool premise. It just gets very confusing, very psychological, thrillery, which is like, no, like you were on such a cool track.
Yeah.
It was like social commentary and sweet visuals, something that to me, at least that I can think of, has never been done before.
Right.
Maybe that's not true, but it just gets really bogged down and like, and then it's Alexander Skarsgård's character has to, he's vacillating between if he wants to stay with the hedonistic group, go with his wife, who's like not about this at all.
Yeah.
And I have some just kind of questions within the story, like why why would this country once, the whole point of it, right, is to, like, I understand they want to get money. So if you're really rich, you can, I mean, that's how our legal system works too. Like poor people don't get executed, or rich people don't get executed, basically, with some exception. But I get that. Like, there's the financial incentive, but once you see that these people are enjoying watching themselves get executed, like, wouldn't you think they were like, is the money that good that like that's worth it? Because it's not going to deter crime. Right. It's not going to there are victims here who I believe can see their perpetrators who like killed their family laughing, watching their clones get killed. Yeah. So it's not like doing justice in any sort of way. It just seemed like there were some loose ends there that need to be tied up.
Right.
And I don't know. I gave it a 68. Okay. I really thought it was on the right track. It was very cool. I definitely recommend it. Just like with its cool visuals, it's a very cool concept. Yeah. It's almost one of those movies I like to just see remade. Right. Like maybe in a little bit with a new script. I think the second half kind of just gets too convoluted. Yeah. 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 That sounds similar to Possessor, where it's got a really cool concept. And it starts off really cool. And then it just kind of skitters off into other places. We're like, okay, I kind of lost what the point was you're trying to make. Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, the Cronenbergs, I'll give them lots of points for style and originality. So for pushing the envelope. Yeah, the Cronenbergs they're directors who, I mean, even the son now, I've only seen Infinity Pool, I haven't seen Possessor. Yeah. Does he have any other full length movies? Does he have one other? He's made one or two other films, I think. So I think he's made like 3 or 4 films total. At this point, even with Infinity Pool, it's like I'll put on whatever he makes. It doesn't necessarily mean I'll go to the theaters to watch it. Yep. Like I'll give it a shot. Yeah. And that's I think speaks for itself. Yeah. So yeah, I do like it's on Hulu. If you get Hulu, like you should watch it, just see what you think. Yeah, we can talk about it again. Yeah, but it's also one of those movies where it's like you get more angry because of what could have been. It's not just a shitty movie. It's like, oh no, this was really cool. You were on such a good path here. It just got bungled. One of the only movies to ever make me genuinely angry, and it was actually a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Kind of. It was a modern remake of an old cheesy 50s sci-fi flick called The Brain That Wouldn't Die. Okay, I don't know that one. I mean, like the original is super hokey, but at least like part of what I think I saw it like a long time ago when I was a kid or something. Part of what makes it so watchable though is like how earnest the original 1950s one is like it's so they take it so seriously, but such a goofy concept that it ends up just being hilarious because of that, right? And it's like the most generic, over the top, sci-fi horror B movie from the 50s. And so a few years back, this is during the pandemic, but I was living in LA at the time, and so my roommate and I, we went to a horror movie festival, and it was actually I think the first time I'd ever been to a drive-in theater. Because it was during the pandemic, so that was like the only way you could watch movies at the time. And so we saw, they're going to show The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and so we thought that we had gotten tickets for a shorts program where it was just going to be just showing short films, and then so then they bring on like the modern remake of The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and we're like, okay, like I've heard of this, and just kept going and going. Like they didn't indicate that it was a feature length film, and it kept going and going. And here's the thing, they really hammed it up. And it was like a super low budget thing. And it's like, I don't know. It just, like you guys basically just shot the original shot for shot, but but instead of but like the thing that differentiated though was that the actors were just being super over the top, like really hokey, where it's like what made the original so funny was they were serious, but it came off as hokey. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh no, the brain won't die. And it's just it's like an hour and a half of that. It was in the 50s. Like it wasn't, it didn't know, right? Like it didn't know that it was being. They thought they were making a serious movie, right? Yeah. And whereas this one is like it's super like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're playing it up like the 1950s, and it was an hour and a half of that, and it was like this film just won't fucking die. And we thought it was gonna be a short film too, so I think that pisses us off. But that was one of the few films where like, if you're gonna remake a movie, like add something to it, do something different. Don't just do a shot for shot remake and then make it worse. Like. Yeah. The last movie I got really angry at, which I think I read my whole review on this podcast, was The Fabelmans.
Oh yes,
which was not horror, but that movie pissed me off so much. I was so angry after watching that movie.
Yeah. It's interesting when a movie makes you angry, because at least for me, it's like I can see there's a movie where it's like I got disappointed in it because like, you know, maybe it had a good director and a good cast, but it just didn't fulfill my expectations. Or maybe like it started off good, but it ended badly or whatever. But a movie that makes me angry, where it's like, you should not have made this movie the way you did. You should have put more thought into this. Like
it's standard, like this is a Spielberg movie,
right?
So it's not gonna be like trash, as in like it's gonna have a certain quality to it, but then your standards are higher, and it was just a shitty movie. Like it just sucked. Another movie that made me angry, I'm trying to think of some now, was the remake of what's that one? Because I like refer to this movie when you'll see on like Reddit or something, like name one movie that like pissed you off or something, you know, something like that. And I always reference this one. It's where two guys basically just like torture this family. Good Time? No, not Good Time. That's a good movie.
Good Time,
yeah, because that is good. It's something like Happy Good People. Oh fuck, I'm so annoyed right now. I know it's a remake though. I think of a Dutch movie. And it's with the actor. I'm doing such a bad job describing this. I have to do like a wormhole right now because I have to go to Boardwalk Empire. It's one of the actors from that. And if I go to him, he's actually from West Orange, New Jersey, which is cool.
Nobody cares.
Dick Michael Pitt, who then is in where's Michael Pitt filmography? It is Funny Games.
Okay.
And the thing is that he's actually really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just torture porn.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand it. Yeah. The only good parts of it were the acting between him and his like co-murderer. They're like country club sociopaths. Yeah. And that was really good, but the movie itself was just, like, I was angry after it. I was like, no one should watch this movie.
Yeah. What made you angry about it though?
There was nothing to it. It was just like it was a snuff film without without being illegal. Like it was like the same thing. There's no story. It was hard to watch. The only reason I gave it something like the 40s, and that's basically because some of the acting was really good, but as a movie, I just fucking hated it. Like it's nihilistic. Which doesn't always have to be bad. I just remember like having a visceral reaction to it.
Bummer, man. Well, it's got Naomi Watts in it, who I like. So
yeah, she's great.
No,
but spoiler alert: they all just die. Like they just kill them. It's just like hard to watch
in a horror movie.
Really, yeah, but like there's no survivors. It's not thrilling. It's not like there are like, a good example I think of something similar would be like a Killing of the Sacred Deer. Killing of a Sacred Deer, where it's not the same, but like somewhat similar. Right. Where you're watching a family kind of get tortured, but it's a good story and it's interesting and it's like that's actually a great movie. That's a Lanthimos movie, right? And right, I think that's him. Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos, who I like. That I think is an equivalent that's really, really good. And Funny Games sucks.
Well, go check it out, everyone.
If you want me to, each their own. You brought up movies that made you angry, and that doesn't happen often with me. Those are two off the top of my head: the fucking Fabelmans and Funny Games. Oh my god, that movie was a disaster. What about so Infinity Pool? Last thing I'll say. Yeah. It was cool. I would like to see more of Brandon Cronenberg. I think it's really cool that he's kind of like taking up his father's mantle. It's not like his dad's known for like kind of more overt violence, right? Yeah. More body horror.
Yeah.
I don't think you really get that here. Like there's
Right.
executions, but it's
Mhm.
not the body horror of the elder Cronenberg.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you want to get into body horror, I can move on to the next movie, that the most recent one I watched
Yeah. Yeah.
is Evil Dead Rise. Very cool. I love this series. Like I love this this uh, franchise, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most unique and fun and scary, like legitimately scary.
Yeah.
The last two are not funny. Like they're not. They don't have that charm, which I'm okay with.
Sure.
I love the first. I not to be honest, I don't love Army of Darkness.
Mm.
I appreciate it because that's some of the best one-liners in
Yeah.
the series. But as a movie, it got too goofy.
Yeah.
For me.
I also wish that they had they had low hanging fruit that they should have called it Medieval Dead.
Yeah,
But
they
I don't
definitely
know.
should have called it that.
Yeah, I don't know why they went with Army of Darkness, but
Army of
maybe that
Darkness,
could have been
Army of Darkness is an awesome name, but you're right. Medieval Dead is so much better.
Medieval Dead, the Army of Darkness or something. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but yeah, I like the original trilogy. I've been meaning to check out the show that served as it. I heard it's pretty good.
I think I'm gonna do because I really want to do the latest American Horror Story, which isn't even that new anymore. I haven't gotten to it. New York City, which again, it's like all you have to do is walk around, and it's a fucking horror story. But yeah. So I love Evil as a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
I think they're like I don't know if the 2013 one, which was like the reboot.
Yeah.
It was marketed as like the scariest movie you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I have to say, like, all right, you better. It doesn't like that's subjective, but it better be good.
Yeah.
And I think it was really good. I can't remember what I gave it, but I think it was really good. What do you think?
I thought that the 2013 reboot was okay. I thought it just kind of relied on just blood and guts, which is fine. Like that, I mean, the movie's called Evil Dead, so it's not like I'm expecting anything psychological or anything. But it was just sort of like, okay, it's it was like the original Evil Dead with the comedy taken out, and it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and more money, dude.
Yeah.
Before I get into Evil Dead Rise, how much money do you think this movie made at the box office?
30 million.
You're not even close, which is insane.
Really? So
this
it was
movie
a big hit.
Made $146 million.
Worldwide or just domestically?
I don't know the answer to that, but that's a shit ton of money.
Yeah,
that is so much goddamn money, and it had a budget of, it just says box office, at a budget of like 15 to 19 million. Dude, this is why horror movies are amazing for cinema.
Yeah,
they bring in so much money. 19 million, $146 million. That's like, is that like a low end Marvel? Like how much does a low end Marvel make?
Like $500 million.
A low end one, like a not as popular one.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first one, based on characters nobody knows about, still made like 600 or 700 million.
Okay, fine. So it's not Marvel, but it's definitely like up there. Like that is a huge. And who produced this? That was New Line Cinema. Warner Bros. Distributed it. So it I just think it's great. Like I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about horror movies and part of why I think that they'll never become unpopular is that like you do not need a huge budget for them. Like in fact, some of the most popular horror films, I mean, like the Blair Witch Project. What was it? Paranormal Activity. I mean, like those two cost in the budget for those movies was in the thousands, and yet they made hundreds of millions each. So it's like they could be crazy, lucrative for studios. Whereas, like, if you're going to an action movie, it's like, okay, well, you need at least a $50 million budget at the minimum to see that many. If you want that many fight scenes and explosions and car chases. So whereas like a horror movie, it's like if you have a camera and a couple people in a house, like you can make some, and if you're inventive enough, you can make something genuinely scary. That people love
with different camera angles. And I mean, I don't like just jump scares. Like if a movie just says jump scares, that's kind of what Paranormal Activity turned into. And I don't love that. It was more like just what's the term I always use? It's startling instead of like scary.
Yeah.
Which can okay, hold on. So here's my okay. Maybe I didn't love Evil Dead as much as I thought. I thought
Yeah.
I gave it a 74
Okay.
back in when I watched it. It's too long here for me to read, but anyway, yeah, 74 is still like 4 stars. It's good. Solid. But so Evil Dead Rise, the newest one, as much as I think it's great how much money it made, I am kind of annoyed with part of it because I don't think, I mean, maybe it made, I have no idea, right, the business side of this, but I think they knew they were going to make good money, right?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a new franchise. You have the title Evil Dead, which people like me, I'm going to watch anything Evil Dead, at least movie-wise. Like, shows, it's different for me to get into. Like, anything movie, I'm watching Evil Dead. And while, like Scream, right, like Scream 6, that was in New York, where I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's something different. Evil Dead Rise is in LA. I'm like, oh, so it's not like The Cabin in the Woods, which is classic and I love. But I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is going to be like more expansive. And it fucking wasn't.
Yeah.
And that annoyed me. It's like, we don't, besides like a prologue and an epilogue that are at a cabin on a lake, that are just a few minutes long each, we don't leave this apartment, I don't believe. You go underneath it at one point. You go to the garage, but like it's really just in this apartment building, really this one apartment for the most part. And I'm like, you guys couldn't expand at all. Like it would be, I would love to see Evil Dead, like the Deadites and things like outside in like LA.
Yeah.
Which would have been really cool. So that's one of my knocks on it. I'm giving it an 81. I might change that a point or two in one direction. Really good. This is about, so instead of the usual group of friends and the Deadites, this is about a family, single mother in LA, 3 children. One thing I want to note here, which I thought was cool, we talk a lot about like the forced inclusivity in movies now.
Yeah.
It's a white family, but unsurprisingly, one of the kids is trans. But it's not, what I like about it is that like they don't say it, they don't make joke, they don't do any pontificating. They don't. It's just like one of the characters is clearly trans.
Right.
And I think that's cool. Like that's how it should be done. Just putting people of different genders and races and like all this stuff just in the movie and let them act and let them be, instead of being like, it wasn't like in Scream, one of the girls has like fucking trans flag on her shirt, she's not trans, and like the pride shit and the other like things. It's like this is just, it's just a trans boy, I believe. Yeah. And I thought that was cool. So it's like it's not, again, when we criticize this stuff, it's not like, oh my god, it's a trans character. It's like, no, it's when it's in your face and it's preachy. Like this is how it's done well. So kudos on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. At least I mean, in fact, it's so not in your face that maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Like maybe she's a lesbian. Maybe she, like, I think it was a trans boy. But hey, like that's what's cool about it. It's just like a trans character in a horror movie. So anyway, the book, which is I always call it the Necronomicon, but it's technically, they say the Naturum de Monto.
Oh, okay.
Which is right here. If you go on Wikipedia, this is the Necronomicon, also referred to as the Book of the Dead, or under the purported original Arabic title, Kitab al-Azif, is a fictional grimoire appearing in stories by the horror writer H.P. Lovecraft and his followers. So anyway, like usual, they find it and hell breaks loose, like literally, right? The effects are really cool. The mom is the one who becomes a Deadite first. This is literally in the poster. I'm not giving anything away here. The poster, it's her holding her kids, which is really creepy and cool. Really well done, like scary. And like any of these movies, kind of one by one, people get picked off. There's whenever if there are survivors, which unlike in Scream, like in Evil Dead, I don't know who's going to survive. Like I don't know. In fact, if this was like typical Hollywood shit, like the trans kid would have been the savior, and one's like, nope. I'll spoil it there. Nope. And it's very, it's fucking like they push some boundaries, man. They have like a little girl getting choked by her Deadite mom.
Damn.
Like it's, and so basically our hero is the mom's sister. So like the aunt to these girls who recently found out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Really cool shit they play with that, with like trying to literally rip out the fetus. And if it wasn't like the ending would, unlike kind of Infinity Pool, the ending of this movie is what I think pushes it into the 80s for me. If it didn't have this kind of ending, I think it would have been stuck in like the mid 70s. And really the ending is really fucking good, where they have this creature called the Marauder, which, do you ever seen like Oat Studios, any of those short films?
I don't think
It's on
so.
Netflix. You should check them out. I looked it up recently. They're like, it's kind of like Love, Death, and Robots.
Okay.
Or what are those called? Anthology.
Yeah.
Right. And they're just like random. And I looked it up. And it's actually a what's that guy's name? Blomkamp.
Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah. Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah. District 9.
He did District 9, right? And I heard him. He's coming out with something new anyway. Something else. I don't know if he directs everything, but I think he produces this. Okay. And the point of it is, which is cool, it's like it's experimental. They're like almost like feelers. I'm like, hey, could this be turned into something bigger? And they have like Sigourney Weaver's in the first one. It's about these like reptilian creatures that take over the earth, aka the U.S. government. And but honestly, it's really scary. And she's kind of leading the resistance to fight back against these reptilians. So it's cool shit like that. And some of them are just like comedy. Some are, some of it's almost like joke. One of them is just like this guy who was doing infomercials, but they keep fucking up and like killing him and stuff, like getting his hand caught and shit. So anyway, in one of these Oat Studios mini movies, short films, there's this creature that's like like a king rat is how I describe it. Like, you know what king rat is?
Is that when a bunch of rats get stuck together, like their tails?
Right. And so it's like that. And like, that's what happens in this movie, which is really cool. It's like the ending is this like globular amoeba like creature that's chasing them. So spoilers, by the way. Do you want me to spoil this for you?
That's fine. Yeah, go for it.
Because it's really, you should watch it anyway. Where this movie delivers, which I love, is that it does its own thing, which is cool. But at the end, I still have a blood-drenched heroine with a chainsaw, like fucking up a monster, and it's awesome. And there's for some reason, beyond me, there's a wood chipper in the garage of a like Los Angeles apartment, but of course they're gonna use it, right? Like I don't know why, but it's there, and they use the fuck out of it, and it's awesome.
Sweet.
And great, like a great final line, and like that. I'm like, okay, that is what I'm looking for when I put on an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend it.
All right.
I just wish it. So like you're probably like, oh Ben, if you're saying all these great things about it, like why are you only giving it an 81? It gets a little gross sometimes to me, and I guess that's subjective. Some people like, I don't love pure gore. I obviously can do violence. I just talked about chainsaws and wood chippers and stuff. Like it just gets kind of gross. Yeah, I think it's unnecessary. I wish they expanded it more, because it's like, you guys aren't some indie film, right? Like the original Evil Dead. Like you're one of the biggest names in horror. You can go bigger. You're going to make money. So, and then maybe some other things I just can't articulate right now, but definitely a solid installment to the series.
So the guy who wrote and directed it, his name is Lee Cronin. And he made a film in 2019 that I thought was actually pretty good. It's a horror film. It's called The Hole in the Ground.
Okay, I don't know.
It's worth checking out. I saw it a few months ago. It's about the single mom, and it takes place in Ireland, I believe, in the Irish countryside. And it's a single mom. She's got like 8 or 9 year old boy, and he's kind of weird and awkward. And he wanders off into the forest, and she goes looking for him. And then she finds him, but she starts to believe that he might have been replaced by like a fairy, because there are a lot of fairy tales that involve stealing children and replacing them and blah blah. So she starts to believe that her son, because he's acting weird, that it's not actually her son anymore. It's pretty cool. It definitely leans much more into psychological horror rather than straight,
which is cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was a nice mixture of sort of dark fantasy and modern horror.
Is he Irish? Is he an Irish director?
I believe so.
Yo,
Lee
why?
Cronin. Yeah.
What? Why won't Sam Raimi just direct another Evil Dead?
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. It would be awesome for him to come back.
Like he's done Marvel,
Yeah.
right? Like he's done. What else is he did? Did you like Drag Me to Hell?
Not really. I thought it was okay.
I
but
remember like fucking hating that movie, to be honest. But
it had a
maybe I
lot of
didn't
parts that
get
were
it.
very reminiscent of Evil Dead. It felt like a watered down Evil Dead movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you remember the part there's a seance and then like one of the characters gets possessed and then he starts floating and saying all these threatening things? It felt so much like an old Evil Dead movie.
Yeah. I don't. I remember the goat.
Yeah.
I remember like the woman, like teethless, sucking on like the girl's face. Who was that Amy Adams?
No,
Who was
some other blonde
who was
chick.
the main character?
No.
Drag Me to Hell. Who's the star? Alison Lohman? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, just some blonde chick.
I don't remember her at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my god, the Vatican tapes. That movie stinks. Oh,
Did Sam Raimi make that one?
No, this girl's in it. No, man.
Oh.
No, but like, what's Sam Raimi done, man? He's like, Drag Me to Hell is like, he's done. Of course, he did fucking Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, shoot me in the face. Like this title, Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yeah,
that was a stinker, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3. Of course, Drag Me to Hell. Man with the Screaming Brain. What the fuck is that?
Was Bruce Campbell in that?
Yeah, he was. But he didn't direct it. Raimi didn't direct it. He was a story. It says he wrote, I don't know. Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man The Gift. So, like, man, go do another Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Like,
hell yeah.
Like, oh, god damn it. All right. I don't know. I don't want to media here. But like at this point, you just did a Doctor Strange movie. Go back to your roots, man.
Yeah.
Like, give the people what they want. You've achieved it all. You've done the big thing. You've done the.
Maybe he doesn't want to, Ben. Maybe he just wants to be a Papa executive producer of Evil Dead. He just wants to let the others.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be kick ass if he and Bruce Campbell reunited. I mean, they kind of did for the Evil Dead TV series. Like I think he directed a few episodes and then he's kind of produced and oversaw.
I don't think Bruce Campbell wants to do any more Evil Dead though. I don't. Yeah. He technically has a cameo in Evil Dead Rise. It's like a voice cameo. I don't know why I'm saying that. I think I may have heard him in an interview say he doesn't really want to do it.
I looked it up. Yeah, that's.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, like
I get it. Yeah. Like, but he's done it more recently. Where Sam Raimi hasn't done an Evil Dead movie since like '87.
Yeah.
Right. Or
93.
Yeah, 92, 93.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. No.
All right. Whatever. I mean, yes, but it's like you've made your money. Like I'm sure you don't need money. He did multiple Spider-Men, and then Multiverse of Madness, Multiverse of Gayness, and then
Oz the Gay and Powerful.
Good a life, Sam Raimi.
Oh man.
All right. So yeah, out of those three, Evil Dead Rise, like really good. Like definitely see that one if you're gonna see one. But check out the others too.
Okay. Real quick, I want to return to the analog horror thing. Maybe we can do a more in-depth episode on this.
I think I need to watch some of it though, so I can contribute. Because I don't I have to know what analog means. I need to watch some examples.
Well, I'm going to give you a recommendation. There's one that I think you'll appreciate quite a bit because it has to do with history. You stupid fucking nerd. Yep. It's called The Monument Mythos, and it's like a series of like short, like I don't know, 3 to 5 minute documentaries. And it looks at like different monuments. I think they're all in the U.S. But it starts off kind of explaining like, oh, you know, the Statue of Liberty was built by the French in 18 blah 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 and brought to the US. How and it looks very formal and very bland and educational, and then it starts going into like the history of the monument, and it'll say like, you know, I can't remember exactly, but it's something like, you know, the Statue of Liberty would eventually be used to house an ancient creature. And then they would show like it was actually, I don't know how exactly they did this. It was done really well. Maybe they did it with miniatures or something, but it looked like somebody with like a cell phone, you know, looking up at the Statue of Liberty at night, and then like the statue kind of splits in half, and you see like a giant like spider leg thing come out or something,
Yeah,
and then and
cool.
it comes back in, and then it closes again, and it does it for like what's the South Dakota thing? All the dudes' heads. Like
South Dakota thing.
Yeah, their stupid heads are in the mountain.
Mount
Rushmore. Yeah, same thing there, where it's like, oh, like on its surface, it's meant just to be a thing, but it's a secret government facility that's used to house some alien thing or something like that. But it's cool. It just looks at all these historical monuments, and it gives like an alternate, you know, backstory for what it actually is. So I recommend that one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just send them to me.
Yeah.
These are like how long are these each?
They're all just a few minutes long, like
gotcha.
2 to 5 minutes long each.
Gotcha.
And it's cool because like I think some of them have like an overarching story, but the vast majority of them are like you just kind of dip in and just, oh, that looks good, that looks interesting, just watching. You don't have to watch like the full, you know, 3 hour long series or whatever. But yeah. All right, man.
Okay, then. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, I'm pretty scared right now, so I think I'm pretty spooked. So I think this is a good place now.
All right. Well, we'll do our horror-thon in October. We'll do a couple eps. I kind of save horror movies on my list until then.
Yeah.
And then just binge them. But I didn't want to pass up on a few of these.
Yeah. And
I like to just watch new shit when it comes out too.
Yeah, you're such a hip kid.
I like to see what the kids are up to.
All right, Ben. Stay reckless. Fight the crits.
Stay reckless, Joseph. Jose, fight the crits.